Bam! What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy DJ with an update on the Swagtron Eb5 Pro Plus modified. That's right, folks. That's right. There it is. Yep. Swagtron Eb5 Pro Plus. Got my headlight on there that I put on there. My Alpina. You can get a Walmart headlight. Again, that's an automotive headlight designed for Jeeps and off-roading. Came up with my own little lighting system, so to speak, where I got a 12-volt battery supply, which I keep in my little holder here. And it powers all my lighting, front and rear. And check the rear again. For those of you who haven't seen it, look at that. Bam! You have to run over me on purpose if I'm riding this bike at night. But anyway, just doing a little update to encourage those of you who want to get into the e-bike scene. This is a $550 e-bike from Swagtron. Okay, I modified it. I visited Grin Technologies out of Canada, ordered an upgraded controller. I forgot the name of it. It's the Phase Runner. Yeah, it's the Base Runner controller. But anyway, I have it mounted down here in this little area here, siliconed in there nice and good. And that's what I'm using to control my throttle right here, my throttle response. Yeah. So that controller is doing real good right now. Right now it's kind of cool outside, so I can't really tell how warm the controller is getting until it gets to normal springtime weather. But anyway, and here is my faithful display screen there. And I forgot what it's called, but it works very well. Kind of dated, but I don't really care. It has all the stats that I need, like how many amp hours I've burned through. So if you have a 20 amp hour pack, this is like your fuel gauge here. It'll tell you exactly like 5.43 amp hours. And I have traveled about 15 to 18 miles, something like that. And that's very little amp hours. But then again, this bike ride that I went on, I was more focused on pedaling. So, but I did have some major hills that I had to climb. And this little bike does great, guys. The advantage to this bike is it uses half the power of your standard average sized direct drive motor. I know because I have a bike with a direct drive motor, and I have e-scooters. I have an e-scooter with a direct drive motor. Direct drive motors use a lot more power than a geared hub motor like this bike has here. I've had this bike for about maybe 4 or 5 months, maybe even 6 or 7 months. But anyway, I love it, and I have higher price e-bikes that I have. But I like this one because, again, as I say in my other reviews on this bike, because it's simple. No gear changes, guys. One speed. That's right, I said it. But anyway, so that simplifies everything. I modified it again, and I have a 14 amp hour battery pack back here. Made by Coam. I'll get them off of eBay. Yeah, that's who I generally deal with when I go to when I get batteries and stuff. Check this out. Okay, inside this casing here is a 14 amp hour battery. I have some Velcro straps down here, keeping it tied down pretty good. If I wanted to, I could squeeze another battery in there. But if I go on a super long ride, I'm going to spread that weight out, and I have a battery bag that I can mount actually on the handlebar, so I would place it up there somewhere. But anyway, just so you guys know. So I think that's really kind of cool to have a battery pack back there and also have one up here. That way all the weight isn't just on that rack. Because as we all know, when you're riding a bike, when you hit bumps, you know, you want it to be as light back there as possible so it doesn't damage your rack. So I don't want to put a 8-pound battery back there when I can just have a little 4-pound battery and, you know, maybe spread out the weight a bit. But anyway, guys, this bike is the bomb. I'm telling you. It has, again, a geared hub motor in the back, very efficient on power. Again, this geared motor uses half the power I'm telling you, half the power of a direct drive motor. It does great on hills. And again, this bike here is like, I consider it my moped, you know, and that's how I ride it. I didn't get this bike to, you know, actually technically go bike riding on, like pedaling. I will pedal when I need to, but I actually got this bike as more of a scooter, okay? More of a scooter. And what's cool about it is, operates off of 42 volts, 52 what, actually, a 48 volt battery. When you charge up lithium ion, it's going to peak out at like 54 volts, 52, 54 volts. So technically it's a 4 volt setup. Because when I charged it up today, that's where the battery meter said the battery was peaked at. So anyway, it does so good off of 48 volts. Now, if you buy this bike, the Swagtron bike here, it will be on a 36 volt setup. It'll have a little cheesy controller inside here. And actually, it does real good with pedal assist. You know, I miss having that. I have not yet connected that up to this setup, and I plan on doing that. But until then, I just throttle it. And it's like, again, this is a moped as far as I'm concerned. And it does great. My peak wattage with this controller, it peaks out at about, the profile that I have it set at, it peaks out at about 750 watts. So I don't strip the gears in that geared hub motor, because there are moving parts in that motor, as opposed to a direct drive motor where there are no moving parts, just a big coil. Okay? So there are some differences. I highly recommend you guys, if you want to get an e-bike, if you're going to get one vehicle, electric scooter or e-bike, get an electric e-bike. I highly recommend that. And I highly recommend this Swagtron Eb5 Pro Plus, because it's very sturdy, it's very cheap as far as cheap in price. But what I'm seeing, and I have high-end bikes too, it seems to be very good in quality. I got very lucky to get the rear rack for this bike. It's actually for the first Eb5 Pro, but this is the Eb5 Pro Plus. So Swagtron said that this bike rack would not work on this bike. I happened to make it work. So if you happen to find a bike rack that says it's for a Swagtron Eb5 Pro, and it says that it will not fit on this bike, it won't fit unless you modify it, and that's what I did. Okay? But anyway, I tried to contact Swagtron to get the actual rear rack for this thing, and they don't make a rack for this bike, is what they told me. I know it sounds crazy. But anyway, guys, I just want to make a quick video and update on e-bike travel. As far as, you know, we all see the soaring gas prices, you know, and this is a great way to get around. I'll ride this thing to work. It's warming up again here in Illinois. I'll be riding it to work. 15 miles there, 15 miles, or 16 miles there, 16 miles back, 32 miles total. This bike does great. It's a lot of fun, does great. You're saving a ton of money. And when I go to work with using this bike, I use a 14 amp hour battery, which is plenty of power, you know. And I did a couple of measurements riding this bike to work on an average day when it's not too windy. I've actually got to work off of 6 amp hours. That's excellent. What does that mean? That means I don't have to pack around a 20 amp hour battery. I've even gone to work with this bike with a 10 amp hour battery and made it there. I only burned up maybe 7 amp hours. So that's even lighter. So why not? I mean, you know, that's what's cool about making an e-bike and modifying it to be kind of what you want it to be, because I can run this bike with I have a 14 amp hour battery, I have a 20 amp hour battery, I have a 10 amp hour battery. I can run this bike off of any one of those batteries, all right, and it will do fine. But again, the thing is with e-bikes is to try and keep the weight down. And that's what I'm trying to do. So to keep it lighter. So if I don't need a 20 amp hour battery, why pack around a 20 amp hour battery if I'm only going 7 miles? See what I'm saying? Why not use a 10 amp hour battery, or even my 14 that I have in there now? I knew I was going to do a few miles tonight, so I was like, 14 to get me where I got to go. And I only burned up 5 amp hours out of 14 amp hours, guys. So these motors are very efficient. Again, I say a geared hub motor uses half the power of a direct drive motor. So look into geared motor e-bikes if you want range. If you want range, look into gear motor e-bikes. I have like four, let me see, hang on, 1, 2, 3. I have 4 geared e-bikes that have geared hub motors. So I kind of know what I'm talking about. And collectively, I have over 7,000 miles on e-bikes, on the e-bikes that I have. So I kind of know what I'm talking about when I talk about how efficient these motors are. And I haven't had one of them break down on me in over 7,000 miles, okay? So I'm just making this video, guys, sharing the information that I've learned off of these, and tinkering with these e-bikes. This is my second custom e-bike. I have a what do you call it? A Brompton folding bike, high-end folding bike I bought years ago back in 2016. I have that, and I actually converted that into an electric bike, and it's real awesome to have. So, yeah, but actually I like riding this one better because I feel that it's sturdier. Brompton's kind of a high-end bike. I don't want to, and the roads here in Illinois are kind of bad, so having these like chunky tires on this bike are really kind of nice. Really kind of nice to have. All right, guys, I'm going to cut it short. I hope I said some information in here that will help you guys. Again, you want to save money on your travels. If you're not scared to ride alongside of roads, an e-bike is a great thing to get. You don't have to have a license for it. You don't even have to have insurance. So they're even cheaper than a motorcycle. And I have a motorcycle or two, and I ride this. Even though I have motorcycles, I will still ride this thing to work. Why? It's electric, green travel. You're doing things for the environment. And it's a lot of fun. And, great thing to have. All right, guys, I'll let you go. I'll stop babbling later.